An ex-New Mexico Republican state candidate has been arrested in connection with multiple shootings at the homes and offices of elected Democrats. Folks, this story coming out of New Mexico is just wild. Okay, I think it began in early December last year, and it involves multiple shootings, I think at least 6, at the homes and offices of elected Democrats in New Mexico. And it's been an ongoing, series of crimes. It's being investigated by local and federal authorities, but a recent development has occurred which has brought it to, I think, national headlines now that Axios and New York Times and other publications are covering it to an even greater degree. Because police are sure they have, or suspect that they have arrested the mastermind behind at least 4 of the 6 shootings. And the suspected mastermind in question, is a former Republican state candidate, a guy who ran for office twice in the New Mexico House races on the Republican ticket. His name is Solomon Pena. And this Axios article goes into all the details. And I thought we should cover it because, interestingly, it weaves together at least 3 major political facts that are really sobering and really troublesome for this country. So number 1, the general theme of general right-wing derangement coming from the MAGA crew, the Cult 45. So that's 1. Second thing is obviously the disproportionately high rate of gun violence that we have in this country relative to other developed nations, right? That we seemingly have very little appetite to even attempt, just to dare to try to think boldly to do anything about. And then number 3, the fact that this story is an example of right-wing domestic terrorism, which I think according to every federal agency in this country, from the FBI to the NSA, under the Department of Homeland Security, right-wing domestic terrorism is the single greatest, in terms of frequency and danger, kind of domestic terrorism in this country. It's not the threat of, American Muslim extremists or anything like that. It's actually right-wing domestic terrorism is the single greatest concentration of domestic terrorism in this country. So this story kind of weaves all these things together. And it says quite a bit about where we are as a country, and more specifically, where the right is in this country, or at least their extremes that unfortunately the moderates have been unable to wrangle and suppress. But anyway, so this Axios article goes into detail. We're not going to read every word, but just kind of the major highlights. So police say they've arrested the suspected mastermind behind some of the recent shootings at the homes and offices of elected Democratic officials in New Mexico. The attacks come amid a growing number of threats and attacks targeting political figures and elected officials. So, for example, most notably, last year, the husband of then Speaker Nancy Pelosi was attacked in their home. I think he was hit in the head with a hammer, and this guy's 90 years old, by a guy who was looking to kneecap then Speaker Pelosi. And this was in San Francisco late last year. And this attack, by the way, was made light of very often by conservative and Republican officials who would joke about it, and they spread wild conspiracy theories, including Elon Musk, by the way. So that's the sort of context in which we find ourselves. Local and federal authorities in New Mexico have been investigating since last month multiple separate shootings targeting Democratic officials' homes and offices. No one was injured in the attacks, but 3 homes were damaged. So that's good. There were no injuries or fatalities. Albuquerque police said Monday they arrested Solomon Pena. So this is the Republican candidate who is the suspected mastermind behind 4 of the 6 shootings. A Republican candidate who lost 2 previous state house elections in connection with some of the shootings. It is believed that he is the mastermind behind this. His arrest comes after another suspect was arrested in connection with the 6 shootings, and police say he was not involved or connected with at least 2 of the reported shootings. However, he has been accused of conspiring with and paying cash for 4 other men to shoot at the homes of 2 county commissioners and 2 state legislators, according to the Albuquerque police department chief. Police accuse Pena of joining them in person, so not just conspiring, but actively joining them, during an attack at New Mexico State Senator Linda Lopez's home, and said he allegedly attempted to shoot with a weapon that malfunctioned. So yeah, his arrest warrant alleges he provided firearms and cash payments and personally participated in at least one shooting. It accuses him of intending serious injury or caused death to the occupants inside the homes. Now here's where it's also, I mean, that's all bad enough. That's all horrific enough. Thankfully, again, nobody was injured, let alone killed. But in terms of the broader political context, this is where it gets really interesting. Medina told, so that Medina is the Albuquerque police department chief, he told the Washington Post that Pena, the suspect, was motivated by former President Donald Trump's false claims of election fraud surrounding the 2020 election. He added that Pena often expressed extreme views on social media, including saying that he had attended the Stop the Steal rally that preceded the January 6th riot, so that crazy Cult 45 MAGA Trump rally in which he said that they should march on the Capitol. Pena claimed he was there. Federal law enforcement is investigating whether Pena participated in the January 6th insurrection and possible federal firearms violation. So in addition to being arrested as the suspected mastermind of 4 of these 6 shootings, he's also being investigated by federal authorities for potentially having invaded the Capitol to try to stop the peaceful transfer of power and install Donald Trump as an unelected dictator. This guy sounds like bad news, in addition to being a 2-time loser. So there's that too. This guy is just like a nexus of loserness, you know? So anyway, this type of radicalism is a threat to our nation and has made its way to our doorstep right here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Albuquerque Mayor Tim Keller said, per the Associated Press, but I know we're going to push back and we will not allow this to cross the threshold. The Republican Party of New Mexico said in a statement that Pena faced serious allegations and he should be held accountable if the charges are validated in court. That is a very, matter of fact, very tepid statement. You know, doesn't express any outrage, but I guess, I don't know if I want to give them credit. I guess part of me does, because at least they say if the charges are validated that he should be held accountable. But again, no real outrage, no broader indication about, you know, right-wing rhetoric leading to these acts of violence, and no sort of introspection as to why so many domestic terrorists seem to align with the Republican Party or conservatives in general, and certainly the MAGA cult. None of that. That's PC woke nonsense. That's soy introspection or whatever the hell the kids are saying these days. But anyway, so that's going on. And the thing I want to end on here is, obviously, again, this is in reference to Pena's association ideologically with MAGA and former President Donald Trump. But this was shared on Twitter. This picture was shared with from his own Twitter account when he was running for the New Mexico State Senate. Trump just announced for 2024. I stand with him. I never conceded my HD14 race, and now researching my options. So I guess this was when he ran in 2022, his second race. He said he never conceded his first one. Right on, man, whatever. And he is surrounded and littered with Trump paraphernalia. So he's got the 2 flags on the wall. He's got the T-shirt. He's got this incel grin going on. He's got this picture back here, this piece of paper with a bunch of words on it, which we can't see, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was some sort of weird culty manifesto. To which I say, facetiously, when he said, now I'm researching my options, a guy on Twitter I follow says his options were to murder the libs. He said facetiously. And I said facetiously, I think it's a bit of a stretch to assume that this man was radicalized by MAGA and Trump. Like, how can we possibly know that he did what he did because of Trump or MAGA? We can't read minds, Justin. Or words on sweatshirts. Or words on flags on walls. Or tweets. And look, here they are. So yeah, interesting to see where this goes. But again, it's just another example of, again, not that the left doesn't have its issues, not that the Democratic Party doesn't have its issues, but they are nowhere near. They are nowhere near, in terms of magnitude and frequency, the predilection towards violence and extremism that is currently localized on the American right. And it'd be really great if we could see fewer and fewer stories like this, but not holding my breath. Hey, you! Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, and I hope that you did, please hit the like and subscribe buttons below. And if you absolutely hated the video, the best revenge for you is also to hit the like and subscribe buttons below. That'll teach me. If you want to share an opinion or share some feedback, go ahead and leave a comment, all right? 2023 is a year of change, hence the aggressive rebrand and commitment to new content. Inspired by my friends Luke Beasley and STV Philly, my personal goal for this channel is to hit 40,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So I'm hoping you'll do me a solid by spreading the word and the videos to potential fans and hate watchers alike. And in the meantime, we'll be pondering politics again with you very soon.